Hi guys, and welcome back to Adrenal Repair. So today I'm going to talk about the circadian rhythm. I'm going to continue on with the stress hormone cortisol. If you haven't seen my last two videos, please go back, check them out. Depersonalization Explained Part 1 and 2, because I go into a lot more detail with cortisol, and it's going to be really important to understand before you move on. Okay, it's going to be I'm going to leave links in the description below as well, so please do check that out before you move on. Okay, so the circadian rhythm, that's the amount of cortisol production throughout the day, okay? In the morning, we want cortisol nice and high. Cortisol gives us that energy to get us out there, allows us to get the work done, okay? As the day progresses, we expect cortisol levels to start dropping and gets us ready for bed, okay? When cortisol levels are low, we're tired, and that's why it's just designed perfectly. It goes back to when we were hunter-gatherers, get all the work done when the sun was up, and then as the sun goes down, we're ready to sleep. Okay, melatonin actually works the opposite, the sleep hormone. So when cortisol is low, melatonin is high. Alright, so there's ways you can test for this to see your circadian rhythm, and it's usually through private labs. There's a couple of them out there. The Dutch is a popular one. BioHealth 205 is another one, where they take saliva or urine samples and you collect it throughout the day, and then this will give you that rhythm, okay? Unfortunately, the doctor in most cases, he just does a blood draw, which will just give you a snapshot of your cortisol there and then when he took the draw. As well as a needle going into your arm is going to release cortisol, so it's not going to be very accurate, okay? So you want to look up, if you want to get this tested, look up an FDN practitioner, or a naturopath will also do it. And you can even hit me up as well. In the description I'll have an email there, so if you have any questions. Okay, so in the morning we expect to be nice and high, and then as the day progresses it drops. What we're seeing is most people, we see a reverse circadian rhythm. It's where in the morning it's nice and low, not nice and low, sorry, it's low, and we want it to be high, and people get up in the morning and they're sluggish and they need coffee just to get out the door. They need that cup of coffee every morning, or a couple of cups of coffee. So this is a sign that they're dealing with some adrenal dysfunction, okay? And then what happens is, as the day progresses, it's pretty common that we get a high spike at nighttime. Now, high cortisol at nighttime is not going to allow you to sleep. Okay, now this chart or this rhythm gives us clues to what's going on. So, for an example, high cortisol at nighttime is an indication that you could be dealing with some parasites, some bugs. I know it's disgusting, but it's pretty common. A lot of people do have them, but they like to come out at nighttime and they cause a lot of irritation and inflammation, okay, which is going to release more cortisol. So that can keep you up at nighttime. So dealing with panic attacks and depersonalization and any type of these like anxiety, I don't like the word mental health, but any of these type of mental issues that deal with trauma and fear can also spike the cortisol, okay, because you're worrying and you're feeding that flight or fight response. So this is pretty common as well. People keep themselves up during the night. They might have high cortisol at nighttime, and then they might only get 2 or 3 hours sleep. They wake up the next morning and the adrenals are just not firing properly, and that leaves us sluggish in the morning, not motivated, don't want to go to work. Okay, so this reverse rhythm is very common. People now that are dealing with stuff for a long time with just no energy throughout the whole day, usually what we see is it's just there's not a lot happening, there's no rhythm, and we need to bring this rhythm back, okay? So there's a few little tips you can do, little tricks to kind of start bringing that cortisol levels up, and that's like introducing your workouts in the morning. Okay, that'll help bring the cortisol up a little bit higher in the morning, okay, if it's too low. You won't really know until you get tested, but a lot of cases, if you're waking up and you're always sluggish in the morning, start looking to get a workout in. Now, you've got to be careful if you're dealing with panic attacks and depersonalization, where the body's already been hammered for so many months of just stress and worry. Workouts can make things worse. So what you can do is what you can call walking in, which is like yoga, tai chi, qigong, these type of movement type workouts that's not stressful, but it brings energy into the body. Lots of breath work, okay, and slow movements. So you can start kind of maybe introducing some practice first thing in the morning, which will help start bringing that cortisol levels up, okay? So you start the day off a little bit better. Again, if there was parasites, we want to be eliminating as much of these parasites as we can, as much as any gut dysfunction that we got going on, so that the gut starts working properly, and yeah, and try and bring this cortisol rhythm back. Now, as well as these tests that show the daily rhythm, it'll also give you a cortisol total, okay? And so you might have heard the term before, adrenal fatigue. Well, they don't actually use that term anymore. They've changed it to, it's actually called Hpa Axis Dysfunction. And it's not that the adrenals are getting tired, it's the signaling from the brain to the adrenals to release the stress hormone cortisol is where the issue lies. So the brain, if under a lot of stress over a certain period of time, starts thinking, we're releasing too much cortisol, this isn't good for the body because too much cortisol is catabolic, it'll start slowing down the production and slowing down the signaling to the adrenals to release cortisol. Okay, so instead of calling it, in the past would have been stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3 adrenal fatigue, we're just going to call it adrenal dysfunction stage 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so everything else is just the same, it's just the wording that's changed. So we just spoke about the circadian rhythm, and then after we get those samples from the morning, noon, afternoon, nighttime, we add up all the numbers, and that gives us a total cortisol for the day, okay, the total cortisol production. This gives us a good indication of where our adrenals are sitting, okay, how well they're doing, or the connection from that brain to the adrenals, what stage we're in, okay. Now, after adding up the total, ideally we're in this is the normal range, okay, this is ideal. Now, but modern lifestyle, we're rarely going to be in this normal range, okay. So what happens is, as we deal with more and more stress, our cortisol total starts rising, okay? This side of the line feels good. This is where the body can release the cortisol to deal with the stress, okay? You could be holding down 2 jobs, just killing it every day. Could last for months, could last for weeks, it could last, some cases could last for years. Everybody's different. But eventually, that signaling to the brain, to the adrenals from the brain will start to slow down because the body can't keep up with this, okay? It's too much cortisol running through the bloodstream. So as the cortisol levels start to drop, the total throughout the day starts to drop, this doesn't feel good to the person, okay? What they're going to start doing is self-medicating. They might need an extra couple of coffee each day just to get themselves through the day. You're going to feel maybe more sluggish, tired. It might be confusing because like the lifestyle hasn't changed and all of a sudden they can't keep up anymore. Okay, this is a sign of what we call stage 1 adrenal dysfunction. Okay, it's not really until around when you get down to that normal range, which is known then on the other side of this spike, is known as stage 2 adrenal dysfunction. And this is where people go to the doctor because they're just not feeling good. Their immune systems become compromised, they're getting sick easily, fatigue. They just don't feel themselves, they just don't feel right, and they go in for some tests, some checkups, whatever. So if the doctor does decide to do an adrenal test, the problem with going to your clinic in most cases is that all they do is take a blood sample, okay, and it gives you a snapshot of where our adrenals are, okay, at that moment in time. It doesn't look at that circadian rhythm to see how the adrenals are actually functional, it just gives that snapshot. Now the problem is, if we're on the way down and we land up in that, when the adrenals get to that normal range on the other side of the chart, if it shows up as normal, he's just going to say your adrenals are fine. If we were over here, we're not going to go to the doctor. We're going to be fine. There's no issues. Okay, even this side we're going to feel like we have lots of energy, we're killing it, and then this is the side where we start crashing, we don't feel well, and then it drops to that normal range. This is when we go to the doctor then says, no, your adrenals are fine. So this can be very confusing for a lot of people. So again, if it's not addressed and the stress is still hanging around, and again you got that, let's say the mental, emotional, structural and chemical, biochemical, it all accumulates. If it keeps going and we're not addressing it, it's going to drop down. And once it drops below that, so as the stress continues, the cortisol levels will keep dropping, taking us down to stage 3 adrenal dysfunction. Okay. If you're dealing with panic attacks and depersonalization, you can guarantee you're floating in around stage 2, stage 3. Okay, stage 3 feels like you have no energy, no motivation. You find it very hard to get out of bed. Inflammation is going to be building up because cortisol levels are very low. The adrenals are struggling to send out that cortisol that's needed, and we'll leave the door wide open to different types of illnesses and diseases. Okay, so our goal is to repair the adrenals, get that pathway going again from the brain to the adrenals by eliminating as much stress as possible. As adrenal function starts coming back, you'll start handling stress better, okay? But you need to start eliminating the stress first, okay? So how do we do that? We follow the principles that I spoke about in part 2 of this video series. So you got your diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, and supplements. Okay, what's usually important is for especially people dealing with DP is using distraction techniques, okay? Just trying to get out of their brain, out of their mind. Because what happens is we turn inwards, we focus on all these different symptoms that keep showing up, which causes more fear and just feeds the problem. By distracting ourselves while following these principles, you're killing two birds with the one stone. Okay, you're trying to distract from the DP while you're repairing the body, which is putting you in a better position to deal with the DP and the panic and whatever stresses we have. Okay, when it came to distraction, for me, everyone's going to be different. For me, it was hand balancing, because I had no interest in hand balancing at the time, but I knew it would take a lot of dedication, a lot of time. I practiced it every day, worked with a hand balancer to really home in on the technique, and that was a huge journey for me. I knew it would be a good way of distracting myself. And while I was on that journey, I was still deep in DP. I was still feeling like shit every day. But over time, it started to change. So you need to give it a chance. People say they tried distraction technique, and they said they didn't get any results from it. It didn't work for them. But stick to it while you're repairing your adrenals. Okay. I've been doing martial arts for most of my life. I kept up my martial arts. Just backed off on intensity and all my type of training that I was doing. Got into photography, calligraphy, artwork, just took on so many different things just to keep my mind outwards and not be focusing inwards the whole time, again while following these principles. And I recommend you guys do the same. Give it a go. Let me know how you get on. If you have any questions, do put them down below in the comments, and I'll do what I can to help, and I'd love to hear how you guys get on. Okay, just the last one there is supplements. I don't really focus on supplements. A lot of people jump at that and okay, what supplements can I take? Again, as I said the last time, you got to get the other guys in line first. There was a couple I did mention, which was a good adrenal support. Go to your local health food shop, ask for adrenal support, as well as magnesium, fish oil, just a few of the basics, vitamin D. Yeah, you can't go wrong with those guys. I think everyone can benefit from taking them. So, or maybe a probiotic. Okay, this is the last one. So, yeah, but dial in the rest, guys, and let me know how you get on. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments below. Cheers.